So how does it feel to be someone who speaks English in Morocco? In today's video, I'm going to explain to you exactly how does it feel. To be clear with you is that I speak 3 languages. I am a trilingual. I speak Arabic, I speak French, and I speak English. Academically, English is my 3rd language. However, I think on the list of capabilities that I have, French might be just the 3rd language. It doesn't mean that French is any worse than my English or Arabic. Matter of fact, I think it's very close to both of them. However, I believe that my Arabic is the strongest, then my English is very catching up, and then my French. So, you are wondering right now on how I dealt and how did I find it to speak English in Morocco. So, to clarify this answer, I must go back a little bit, because when I was young, the first thing that I've learned, because I didn't go to English school because it's private and it costs a lot of money that we cannot afford it. So the first thing that I've learned was a few words. It was 5 words, which are yes, no, what, now, and I guess something like this. Then I remembered, I memorized a few words such as impossible. Actually, I've memorized it with a spelling, with an accent, with an American accent that I saw in a movie, which is, this is impossible. It was like that. So on that journey, it was 2 years before me starting English. So that was 9 years ago. So 9 years ago, I started learning English. And the journey was a little bit slow. Then, actually, when I described the journey, it was actually very fast. Because I remember just in a few years, I was always the best in my class in English. So I was always taking full grades. I was always, thinking that it's pretty easy. And actually, matter of fact, in so many occasions, I've argued with the teachers. I was arguing that maybe there is a few words that must be changed. And in a few occasions, they have actually went and looked up the Harvard dictionary. And then they went and they said, yes, you were correct. Well, this is not self-praise, right? Because it was definitely a very poor language that I had. And until now, I truly believe that I'm very good at English. I truly believe that I am fluent. There's no difference between me and someone who speaks English his entire life, which basically I am, because I film videos all the time in English. And although I believe that there is a lot to learn, because I've read about something is that there's levels when we're talking about languages. Probably I've heard this before, is that most of people talk on the familiar level, which is the level that is the worst level of languages. It consists of words like, which called just filling words. And when you're describing a situation or feelings or yourself or others, you describe them in a way that is very broad. As an example, you say, the event was crazy, instead of saying that. Just simple words. The event was funny. I found it very entertaining. I found it, it had a few things that I didn't expect. So those are more of a describing words that make your speech more articulate. Of course, I need to work on that, and I understand that, and that is what I'm working on currently. Yet, to get to this level that I am in, if you are not a native speaker in English, I recommend you to speak English a lot. Whether with yourself, for me personally, I began with myself. I was talking always with myself. I was thinking in English. And I truly believe that the only way to learn a language is to think with the language. And I did the same thing with French. And that actually helped me a lot. So try to make your environment in English. As an example, think in English, talk in English, consume things in English. As an example, you like watching, YouTube videos about cooking, watch them in English, not in your language. And you can do that in the same, or you can change your phone language into English. You can change your computer language into English. You can change every device in your house into English. You can change the names that you write on paper on English. If you journal, you can journal in English. And I honestly, I believe that for me to express my emotions in English is far more expressive than me speaking about my emotions in Arabic. I must clarify that, of course, my Arabic speeches are far more powerful than my English ones. I have seen that only just by making YouTube videos. When I make videos in Arabic, I make an impact. I make more influence that I make videos in English. Although I think this is changing actually, and I think this have changed, especially after uploading 76 videos in the last 7 months. All thanks are due to God. I think definitely there is an upgrade here. However, I think one thing that a lot of people actually don't think about, which is language get built very slowly. Most people want this language very fast. You can. Actually, matter of fact, if you want to learn a language very fast, you must learn the words that are the most common used words. Just as an example, I, you, yes, no, let's do this, let's do that, I want to, I don't want to. Those words are very simple. Those sentences can help you to communicate on a basic level far than what you can think. There's only I think 1,000 will make you able to speak a language. Communicate. Let's not say speak. Communicate. It will make you communicate. Maybe use a little bit of body language. Use a little bit of your imagination to send the message to the receiver. So this is very clear now. But one thing is certain is learning other languages is to say the least, is a roller coaster. You go through tribulations, you go through emotions, you go through phases. And in some phases, you think you know everything. You know that you are the best in English. You watch YouTube videos that you just use the familiar language and you say, yes, I know English. I'm just very good at it. Although you have to use Google Translation every 2 seconds. It's a bad side. So first thing that people must understand is that you want to humble yourself when you're learning a language. The entire educational process is based on humble yourself. You cannot learn something if you're not humble. If you think you know everything, then you cannot learn. So this is a very opposite idea about when talking about business. Business is the opposite. You must understand what you're talking about. You must be that guy. You must be the one that does the job. While in learning, it's the complete opposite. You must understand that you know nothing for you to try to understand the things. Because at that point, you're not convincing anyone about anything. You're basically learning, getting informations into your brain. Learning process depends on who you are. The most key factor is that you have the willing and you get the job done, whether it's YouTube videos, movies, films, musics. I don't recommend you to do that. Yet, if you already watch them, you have no problem with them, then just go do them. Right? If you're gonna do them anyway, just go do them in English. At least it's better. You can learn something. Although I don't recommend any of this, but it's a subject for another day. So language is actually very essential and very crucial, especially because we are humans. We are social creatures. The basics of our human existence is communications. Is how can you receive and how can you send messages to people? Because there is no one in the entire planet that can understand your ideas precisely how you think. No one. Maybe after they found some AI in our brains, maybe that time. But now, no. Nobody will ever understand your thoughts the same way that are in your head, because there is emotions involved, there is background, there is experiences. Everything combined together will make the experience far more different. Actually, that has happened to me so many times. I was talking to people that speak English as their native language or the second language. When I talk with them, I very notice in so many occasions that maybe the message was not interpreted the way that I wanted. Maybe they didn't even understand me. They just were like, yes, bro, I understand everything that you have said just for me, because they don't want to make me feel bad. I've noticed that. Of course, you must take note, because the entire learning curve is about self-analysis. You must analyze yourself. You must analyze everything that has happened to you before, everything that is happening, for you to predict the future, or at least, let's say, not predict. Let's say plan the future. You must plan a plan for your future. The goal for your educational language education is depending on who you are. As an example, people want to learn English to study. There is another way to learn English in that manner. For some people, they want to learn English to work. So we want to go through a different path to learn English. There's other people that want to make YouTube videos in English, right? Maybe very few. Maybe I'm the only person in the world that does it. But it's also another thing. So you must take another path. People want to have, I don't know, maybe like high status or something. So all of this combined will make you even more stronger, will make you even more articulate. You want to reach, or your goal must be to reach the 30,000 threshold, 30,000 words. It's a lot of words. But when you are in the process, you don't feel the 30,000 words, because everything is in your brain. So being an articulate is an active process. You must think with yourself. You must ask yourself, what are the best words that I can use in this specific situation that can explain what I want the person to understand from me? Because at times, communication is everything. And you can see that if you are a doctor, as an example, communication is everything. You want to communicate on the highest level of human communication, because otherwise a lot of errors can occur. And the same thing goes for every teamwork in the planet. And this means that actually, including you have teamwork. You work in a team, whether in school, whether in work, whether in the house. If you're cooking, if you don't do anything, you don't work, you don't study, you're cooking, that's a teamwork. So this is another deal. Another thing that I want to clarify here is that there is a lot of people that have very high status and speak and influence people in English, although they don't have a very high level of English. Take athletes as an example. You see Khabib Nurmagomedov, who is raised in Kazakhstan. He doesn't speak English very properly, yet he's one of the most influential people on the planet. When he talks, his videos get millions of views. That's influence. If anything, that's something to take note of. There is other people such as Cristiano Ronaldo. He doesn't have the best of languages. He talks very clearly. He talks very not articulate. Let's make it clear here. He's not articulate when he speaks. There's a lot to upgrade. But yes, who's gonna blame him? He's arguably the best player in the world. He's the most famous of them, certainly. Who's gonna blame him? So, in this manner, you must think, or I would like to think, that maybe language is not very important. Maybe what you do in life is more important, and make language just a vehicle to explain what you do, what you think, and how we want the world to perceive your thoughts. Because the universe is a representation of what we say. Be mindful of what you say about yourself. If you're learning a language, at least Learn words that help you. Say, I am the guy that always takes responsibilities, always in time, always does his duties, does his job. He's the best at his job. He's ambitious. He doesn't waste time. He's not lazy. I am that guy. Learn these words and always say about yourself. That will help you to improve your personality on the long run and also the short term, as well as learning English in the process. Of course, what I've talked about right now doesn't only help you to learn English, but basically any other language on the planet. Whether it's French, whether it's Mandarin, Chinese, whether it's Arabic. I think it's just about the time for me to end this discussion. I truly believe that I talked about very interesting thoughts, especially the troubles that people face in the learning curve of a language. There's a lot of things to cover on this subject. I can definitely go on for hours and hours, non-stop, of complete valuable knowledge about this subject. However, respecting your time, your valuable, precious time, I'll end this discussion here. Maybe if you like this conversation, I can have another setting, delving even more in depth in the points that I've talked about today. So as always, you must focus on one thing, which is your mastery. And right now, see you in the next one.